welcome back to the channel again, and 3.3 is now live. Now 3.3 doesn't contain everything which we all expected, but of course we have known that for a long time now. Now the thing we're all looking forward to is Hurston, and I believe that Hurston and the Lorville landing zone is now being tested by the Evercarty and will become available on the PTU in the not too distant future. Now obviously the main achievement of 3.3 is the performance, and if you look in the top left hand corner of your screen, you'll see the actual frame rate I'm getting at the moment. This is via the MSI Afterburner tool, and as you can see we're at Port Olisar and we're getting well, some very good frame rates. We're in the 80s, sometimes the 90s, running inside Port Olisar here. Now of course my specs are pretty good. I'm actually running at a resolution of 2560 by 1440 on a Predator Acer G-Sync monitor, but of course my specs on my computer are the most important things, and let's start off with that. I'm running a Acer Strix 1080 Ti, excellent graphic card. I believe they're actually now the 1080 Ti's are very hard to come by now, seeing that everybody went for them rather than the 2080s RTXs because of the price. So we're running a 1080 Ti, 32 gigs of RAM, DDR4 of course. I think it's only at 2666 megahertz. We're running Star Citizen off a Intel 900p Octane drive. They have now come down in price, so of course you don't get the Sabre Raven with them, which I did. And we're running as a processor a 3-year-old now, a little bit actual older than that, a 5930K from Intel at 4.2 gigahertz. So we're at 80, 90, 70 FPS, bit of fluctuation here, and that's pretty good. Anyway, let's check on the performance outside Port Olisar when we get into a ship. Now probably the best place to go to check frame rates is Levski, or as some people like to call it, Lagski. Now that's because historically, and even on the PTU, it's been the worst performing area of Star Citizen. Now as I was saying about Levski, on the PTU performance was very up and down, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons why they've needed a lot of extra time to get Hurston ready, because of the performance. Hurston is a big planet, and Lorville is a gigantic city and big landing area there. And of course Levski is really the largest area in the game at the moment, where with all the landing area underground, and that is probably why performance hasn't been that great there. Something to do with the object container streaming. Anyway, as you can see outside Port Olisar, I'm still at very high frame rates, so let's see if we can make our way to Levski and see how things are holding up there. Well, if I was a betting man, I certainly would be predicting a big drop in frame rate as we head toward Levski. We can see a decrease in the general frame rate at the moment, but still holding over 60 FPS, and at this resolution that's pretty good. Well, as we've approached Levski, we have seen a drop in general frame rate, but still a lot better than what it was in the previous 3.2 version of Star Citizen. So let's fly over the Levski landing zone. Of course, there's probably a fair few other players around, because obviously there's the new teachers or store where you can rent and buy ships, so obviously that does attract a lot of people.
Hey there! On behalf of the People's Alliance, welcome to Levski. Name's Eslin. I run the hangars here, which is great for you because you're probably looking to land.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Well, we made it down to Levski, and let's see what the performance is like inside. At the moment we're holding at a reasonable 40 to 50 FPS, which for Levski is pretty good actually, as we're going up towards 60. Oh, that NPC's got some nice hair. Maybe they got the inspiration from Blind Chambers for that hair. Wrong colour though. Right, as we go inside towards the elevator, we've actually got an increase in frame rate, and we're in the 90s. That's very promising. Very promising indeed. Now obviously a little bit of a decrease in frame rate as we enter the customs area in Levski. Now usually you do see a large drop, especially when we come to these areas where obviously you can view the surface outside, and yeah, as I guessed, although we're at much better frame rates than what we would have been in 3.2, there is a still dramatic drop from what we saw on Olisar and when we was outside in the hangar at Levski. So we just run around to get a general feel of the frame rate, and this is precisely why I believe the Lorville landing zone and Hurston has been delayed, is because performance in them areas is going to be well, at this type of level, maybe even worse. I think we saw that during the CitizenCon demo which took place on Hurston. Now obviously for these larger areas, the object container streaming and the bind culling and all the other things they're using to improve performance is still suffering and struggling a little bit. Although we've picked up now, as we've come away from actually viewing the areas where you can see the surface. If we go back again, some other players as well here, we can see drop in frame rate. Guess that's the price we pay for this awesome fidelity. But obviously that's less than ideal. Now let's go down to the ship shop. Now I've never actually seen the ships inside because I always got the shop when it was empty. But let's see what performance is like down there. I think they've sped up the elevators as well, because some of these elevators were really very slow. In fact, sometimes the doors wouldn't open in the PTU, but you got to accept them type of bugs and glitches if you play the PTU. Now we're in the ship shop now. Oh, we seem to have a comms feed. I'm sure that's the landing controller guy, isn't it? That's obviously some type of glitch. So down here in Teach's store, with all these ships showing up in this hangar, you can see there is a general. We're at fluctuating anywhere between mid 30s and 50 FPS. Nice to see these ships in here. We've got Prospector Auroras, Cutlasses, and a Drake Buccaneer. So if you wanted to actually rent or buy a Prospector, yeah, that's how much it would cost in Alpha UEC. So if you want one of these, you better start doing some missions and earning some Alpha UEC. Still, it's a good thing that they are available, and maybe a Dragonfly would be a cheaper buy. Let's have a look. Well, yeah, less expensive. Still going to take you a while to earn that currency. So there you go. Nice that the ships are here. The performance is a little bit going up and down, but acceptable, and Levski is still a little bit of lagski, but a lot more of an improvement, and a lot more playable than what it's been before. Well, I hope you found this one interesting. Now I will be back once the PTU is up and stable and I can get to explore Hurston and Lorville and check on the performance we're going to get there, and obviously that will be challenging, I believe, but certainly there's ongoing improvements. If we look at the awesome spacescape surrounding Levski, it really is absolutely of the highest fidelity. So until next time, you take care, and I'll leave you looking at some of the awesome spacescape surrounding Levski.